mysterious stories.
Despite declarations of repeated efforts to keep their stories hidden, these leaked videos continue to surface all over the internet. Let's go through these videos together and separate the rumors from the facts. This underground hacking compact demonstrates how simple it is to subvert society using low-cost spy tools. This device, for example, is designed to resemble a USB charger.
And it in fact is a USB charger, but he put some other stuff inside of it.
The true target of this implement is to keep an eye on what everyone within a certain radius is typing into their phones and computers.
In this package is a sniffer.
One of these chargers can be used to steal anything from usernames and passwords to credit card information. Moreover, it recharges devices like a normal charger. The goal is to make the device appear as normal as possible in order to avoid suspicion. You could be walking down the street while someone is hacking your entire life and not even realize it. This simple children's messaging toy has been reprogrammed with an app that can connect to cell phones, garage door openers, and other basic radio frequency systems.
This is an off-the-shelf children's toy with a highly capable radio in it that can tune to quite a range of frequencies in the sub-1 gigahertz band.
The entire video is more than 50 minutes long and is packed with various equipment and exploits that are quiet and carefully kept hidden. It just demonstrates that no security system is ever completely secure, especially in this day and age of advanced strategies. This video is said to be shot somewhere along the beaches of New York in 1959, depicts an unrevealed creature washed up on the shore. Even though it appears to be a primate species, its torso is a little too long and its arms are a little too short, and its whole body is nothing but pure muscle, almost as if it has been experimented on. In reality, a more careful look lets out that this creature possesses traits from a variety of animals, ranging from a panther to a bear. If you believe this video, this creature is from the Plum Island Animal Disease Center, a mysterious nearby research facility. Perhaps it makes a break for the island on its own, or perhaps it was improperly disposed of by workers once they were done with it. In any case, it was never revealed what purpose it served or what, if anything, it was infected with. However, I believe there is a chance that this video is a forgery because it appears to have been shot in higher ranking definition with a grainy filter. In any case, please let me know what you think about its rightfulness. A Russian astronaut discovered a hole inside their spacecraft a short time ago, and no one has an idea how it got there in the first place. Keep an eye on this section and attempt to translate what he is saying if you can.
Привел в отсек осу, где за накладкой мы обнаружили 2-миллиметровое отверстие, куда уходил наш воздух.
For all I know, it will provide us with some hints. The hole seems to be man-made and was even covered with a piece of material to keep hidden it, which to me indicates a signal of intended vandalism. My only query is why someone would make a hole in the wall in the first place. The wall appears to be insignificant, and they can still fully carry out an operation of the spacecraft regardless. After the Russian spacecraft moored with the International Space Station, the hole manifested. NASA and Russia are now conducting a covert investigation to specify who dug the hole and if it was deliberately damaged. Please tell me what you think happened on this spaceship based on what you saw in this video. This video experiment demonstrates something that many governments would not like the general public to know. It is far easier to make objects invisible than you might think. Take a look at what occurs when this YouTuber dips a simple glass test tube into vegetable oil.
But if I actually put it in far enough that the entire test tube is submerged, it vanishes almost completely.
This uncomplicated experiment demonstrates how certain liquids can bend light around an object, making it invisible. The key is to match the appropriate reflexive properties with the appropriate objects. This fundamental scientific principle is what governments are currently experimenting with in order to develop cloaking devices for humans and, eventually, aircraft, if they haven't already. To prove their point even further, this YouTuber pulls out a second test tube that has been concealed in the center of the glass the entire time. Please tell me if you believe this experiment has military potential or if you believe the entire concept is too far-fetched to have any practical application. According to the uploader of this undercover video, Citizen Satyarthi, this leaked video of a factory in China has been said to be traced back to a well-known American retail chain. Small children are seen here working on an assembly line to produce large quantities of low-priced plastic toys. Nearly everything in this huge manufacturing factory is done by hand, implying monotonous tasks and possibly long hours. At 2:05, they show a wall of boxes that may give us assistance in determining whether or not this video is real. Please tell me if you have discovered these purple-labeled boxes in a stockroom or warehouse near you. If this is the case, it could be a coincidence, or it could indicate that they have direct relations with this facility after all. This allegedly leaked video shows the government conducting a secret anti-gravity experiment in broad daylight. A military helicopter flies without moving its blades, all while emitting a magnetic humming sound. When the helicopter flies away, notice how the strangely distorted droning becomes more far away. That sound appears to be caused by something aboard, possibly an exploratory anti-gravitational device.
I don't know about you.
Even though I'm not sure about you, that doesn't look or sound like an ordinary helicopter to me. I have been given to understand that helicopters can look like this depending on the camera that's recording them, but if someone could give me a more concrete explanation, I would be grateful. Until then, I must be curious about if this was a government anti-gravity research conducted in full view of the public.
So what are you doing here now?
This video is said to be from a captured alien being held somewhere on the Area 51 outpost. When they ask where it came from, the alien gives an unexpected response. It continues by explaining that traveling through time is the same as traveling through space, even though its answers are always cryptic and sometimes impossible to understand. This video is most likely not real because the alien sounds like a primary voice changer app. However, it does look very lifelike and persuasive at times, particularly when it becomes displeased and abruptly ends the interview. It appears that world powers have been shut down in a covert race to be in control of the fate of the atmosphere itself. China, Russia, and the United States are developing a new microwave technology capable of jamming radio signals by raising a small portion of the sky's temperature to 212 degrees Fahrenheit. This new technology emits up to 260 megawatts of energy into the atmosphere at once, approximately equivalent to a whole city, and prevents all major frequencies from receiving signals. The technology appears to have been adopted by the United States and is now being used on fighter jets. Even though we don't know what warming the atmosphere will do to the Earth in the long run, it could exacerbate existing environmental issues. It's also unclear what impact this will have on nearby civilian populations, although I suspect it will be positive. According to what you've seen here, tell me if you believe the world has gone too far with this technology and if we ought to limit its use. Michael Manzo believes there is a problem with the snow. He seems to take some from the outside and tries to dissipate it with a butane lighter. For some reason, the flame blackens it, but it otherwise remains in one solid piece.
No moisture. No dripping. Look at this.
Michael then picks more snow and places it over an open stove.
No moisture. Look at this. No drippage.
Despite being held over an intense heat source twice, the snow does not melt in the least. This causes Michael Mazzo to believe that this is some kind of artificially modified substance made to look like snow. I presume that it is from weather experiments of some sort. Please let me know what you think of this video because I don't know how this is possible. This older Japanese video appears to indicate that military dissimulating technology has been available for quite some time. It almost appears to be a top-secret promotional sales video that was leaked to the public over time. A Japanese soldier is shown here wearing reflective materials that are designed to make curved light around his body, making him completely invisible. Pay attention to this section and attempt to translate what he is saying if you can.
それもやはり背中につけたカメラで背景を撮影し、それを表側のセンサーに
I believe they're discussing the materials which are used in this light-bending suit and how they activate. After this short explanation, you will eventually be able to look at the suit in action. When they change position, you can still see the man, however, when they stand still, it appears nearly impossible to discover. It's difficult to tell if this is a specific effect or a genuine cloaking suit. If this is true, I can only think that the technology has improved over the years and is now nearly impossible to discover, even with motion. This dashcam video was said to be taken near Hanoi, Vietnam, and was shared on Facebook, where it quickly spread to local news outlets. The car soon approaches a figure put on entirely in white standing in the middle of the road. The drivers are comparatively worried because this individual is standing in the middle of a pitch-black road, with only one street light above him. They don't demand the person any questions and instead immediately drive away. While many on social media assumed it was a ghost of some sort, news outlets reported that it was a woman who was not mentally well and was perhaps trying to commit suicide. Let us wish that she received the assistance she required before it was too late. This video shows a complete stranger on a bridge waving hello to rush hour traffic while dressed as a clown. It's gruesome enough that a stranger is waving to no one in particular but to look at its arm. Perhaps even though it's just the angle, the arm appears far too long and thin to be owned by anyone. At the 15-second mark, you can notice that the forearm alone appears to be the same length as an ordinary person's whole arm. When a man raises his phone too high while looking away, he raises suspicion. When he does see his phone, he appears to be deeply focused. He has no idea that the window at the back of him is reflecting his screen, break promises to him, and telling the entire story to anyone who is quick enough to notice. If you notice to the right, you can see a blurry image of a woman sitting. No matter what the reason is, he is obviously capturing the female passenger, who is covertly recording him in return. This goes on for well over a minute. He's staring at his screen, and there's no way he doesn't realize the camera is on. The idea of watching someone through your phone is extremely gruesome, and who has any idea how many times he saw it later in his spare time if he was recording a video. A child makes up his mind to climb out the window and look around. After walking around the perimeter a few times, he tests his limits, as children usually do, and attempts to see how far he can stretch out that has not fallen. When a stressful motorist causes to make a honk from below, you can listen to him hit the side of the building twice. He bobs down the apartment and quickly comes back, buoyed by his first successful effort. He oscillates both feet over the edge and doesn't look back once while moving all around, making tons of risky moves with no regard for the possibility of falling to the streets below. After more than 3 minutes of high-rise acrobatics, someone eventually notices what he's doing and drags him inside, followed by the horrified yell of a terrified parent. Outside, a man discovers a single floppy and blurry critter that is completely still. Even though he is uncertain what it is, it appears to be harmless, like an enormous caterpillar, and he can't help but give it a quick pat. That's when its insides burst open and chase him down.
Super pelo público.
What appeared to be a massive tuft of fur was actually tens of thousands of spiders tightly packed together. Although he yells in surprise and steps back from the living nest, it's not early enough to disappear. I think that hundreds of these fast-moving bugs have already linked themselves to him and are dispersing under his clothes, infiltrating every last corner and crevice. If you are fond of chocolate peanut butter cups, this video will definitely make you surprised. This one, for some reason, appears to have some additional ingredients that I'm pretty sure aren't supposed to be there. Dozens of worms of various sizes entwine their way in and out of the chocolatey lair. Some of them are too small to look like specks of peanut butter until they change position. Even though I'm not certain how they got in there, this candy looks comparatively old and it's probably what takes place past the expiration date, so it's not exactly sure it's the manufacturer's fault. However, if this has occurred once, it has most likely taken place many times before, and perhaps someone else did not notice it as carefully before taking a bite. Will Rubio, a YouTuber, goes inside an old Utah jail with some friends to see what's left behind. Everyone is in a good mood, and one of them enters the cell, laughing, to imagine what it must have been like to be locked up. When they discover the answer by chance, they are all discussing whether or not the door has a working lock.
Is there any lock on it? You think? No, I think it's a magnet. Holy You're joking. I'm not kidding.
He attempts to get out when they find the way that discovers the controls in the darkened area, and soon discovers the doors are as strong as ever.
Why would you call?
Eventually, just as true panic sets in, they try to break open the cell door and release their friend. If not, they would have had to get in touch with emergency services and would have gotten themselves into a lot of trouble. This video was shot at Twister's, a 1950s-themed restaurant off Route 66 in Williams, Arizona. You would never guess that a tiny room downstairs has a disturbing history based on the appearance of this health-giving family diner. However, first, here's what a camera detects a motion downstairs, which recorded one random night.
Basically, it started out as a white cloud, kind of translucent in nature. And as it continued, it took on more of a human-type form. The white cloud forms in what used to be an old gas station room built back in 1926.
This building was once a gas station, and the owner committed suicide in the downstairs office without known reasons. Since then, the new owners have felt as if someone is following them all the time, and the wife does not want to go down there alone. Oh, and there is still one thing: they discovered his body in the same corner where his possible ghost was seen. When this reporter discovers, interviewing a lion through a shaky chain-link fence is likely not the greatest idea. Consider how she directs her gaze at the lion and then raises her hand, both of which can be interpreted as a challenge.
Do ya? But he's choosing to be outside, and if it gets really cold, he can go.
He makes up his mind to get her to move backwards away from his area of land as she comes back with him.
Do his den in the back. Right, Tao?
By good fortune for her, this seems to be a warning rather than a direct effort on her life. It seems that there is another famously spooked watering hole in the United Kingdom is the Bassett Arms pub in Barry Town, Wales. Despite the fact that there are all kinds of weird sightings taking place here on a regular basis, this one is likely the most persuasive.
Look at that, that's getting more prominent.
It almost appears as if an apparition is bending out of the wall and stretching out. When I stop the video at 7 seconds, let me know if you can notice its head, shoulders, and arms. However, I predict that this supposed ghost could have simply been a spider web hanging loosely in front of the camera. I hope that to affirm this likelihood, they had moved to the camera and looked around for any webs or long strings of dust. It seems to be the only other explanation I've come up with for the paranormal. Regrettably, we will have no idea for certain. Another video of a possibly haunted warehouse can be found here. Look at what one of the security cameras captures slinking around their screen, and I assume that it is late at night after everyone has returned home. Even though the footage appears grainy, which would normally indicate editing, this is how most low-budget security cameras appear as well. And perhaps it was a bug that is walking across the lens, it seemed to be edited, or maybe it was a shadow person floating silently across a construction site. We will have no idea for sure. They recorded this brief video at an unknown prison that was most probably abandoned. Does this seem to be a real creature emerging from the shadows, or do the shadows seem to be playing jokes on you? I suppose that there are hints of editing. The dust is moving in a twisting pattern much faster than usual, which leads me to believe that someone has sped this footage up. A normal person who simply put on all black was walking up and then was moving backwards away, which would appear very unusual when sped up like that. However, the video could have been sped up because there was another reason, and in fact, it is real. It seems that the Three Arrows pub in Hayward, England is 150 years old and is rumored to be haunted. Customers and employees have announced that spilled drinks, doors slamming shut, weird voices, and even glasses going off out of nowhere. Here are a few examples of incidents that were captured on video. When a menu is put on the table in a neat way, all of a sudden. Alright, even though maybe the air conditioning gusted it over or something, what about this much weightier bottle opener that's securely attached to the counter? I suppose even though this could be a practical joke of some type, supernatural encounters in a building more than a century old don't seem too far-fetched, either. A ghost story could be used to increase business. However, from what I know, it appears that this pub is already working well and does not require a publicity stunt. The title of this video is merely Path of the Banshee. There seems to be a man walking alone down a desolate path, with rows of trees on both sides reaching out to him. He looks unmoving when he notices something in the distance. It is believed that the yell can be fake and was added in post-production. Despite this, it is claimed that they are able to see a figure wearing white robes in the distance. Do you notice anything similar as he zooms in? In addition, if you know whether the origin of the scream is a video game, a movie, or something, please tell me. Perhaps if we all work together, we can finally determine whether this video is fake or real. For a long time, video rental stores have extremely been becoming popular, and some were even said to be haunted. One night, even though a clerk is stocking movies by himself, something rejects to let him do his job in peace. To be honest, I could leave work early if a cart makes a move on its own like that. However, he doesn't seem to mind and keeps stocking movies. Eventually, he becomes frightened and flees. Even though everything from strings to a minor earthquake has been suggested, I believe it can be real. There appears to be something genuine about his reaction. I want to hear what you think. It appears that a family in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania witnesses something so incredible that they must draw to a close what they are doing and begin filming.
There's another spot. You see what I'm saying?
What is that?
Tree.
No. Right there. See it?
Uh-huh.
Weird, slightly wavering light spots pop up out of nowhere and appear to stay afloat above the nearby meadow and forest floor. Even though they believe that it could be other people for a moment, no matter what they are witnessing is staying afloat around everywhere, even in the trees. Many people watching this video believe that these ghostly soldiers from the Civil War marching in single file lines, the same as they did when they passed away. It is believed that these could be flashlights from hikers, although this doesn't really resemble a flashlight to me. So there is no doubt that I would want to listen to what you think is the reason why has this scenario. Madmup, a YouTuber, must take some keys to open a gate at his warehouse job. However, it was too shocking for him to discover that it was already wide open when he came back 5 minutes later. This is what he discovered when he examined the security cameras to see what took place. It appears that there is an unidentified figure that tests the gate and then unlocks it. The padlock can be seen lifting high into the air and switching on its own as though someone is inserting a key. Please tell me if you believe this is a hoax or if it is truly paranormal. A YouTuber known as Justin Case Live has recently been livestreaming from his home, which he supposes is spooked. He claims that the bathroom seems to have been experiencing the most paranormal activity for some reason, and then, this takes place.
So I'm gonna make a YouTube video and see if I can catch something live on camera.
After that, just when he believes everything is secure enough.
You guys seen it lot? Dude! Yo, I'm done. I am out of this house.
It appears that his reaction is genuine, which leads me to believe that the video is real. Because he livestreamed it, which editing the video later would not have carried out. Even though you can be curious about the reason why this man is using a stick to prod around in his shoes, anyone who lives in a hot desert or tropical environment will seem to know the reason why he is doing. Here's a reason that you don't wear your shoes right away in India's rural countryside.
Wow.
The majority of snake bites in India are caused by this baby Indian cobra. And yeah, because it's venomous, even a tiny one like this seems to be the last thing you'd like to discover in your shoes. It does not even have to sink its teeth into you. Instead, it can spit venom into your eyes. If you stay in India, Australia, the American Southwest, or somewhere similar, please tell me about the strangest thing you've ever discovered hiding in your shoes. You try imagining that one morning you get up and discover this thing that is hiking in one of your home's most closely acquainted areas. That's what a YouTuber named Stefani Vantinen and her mother thought when they discovered a large rat in their toilet. Then they begin discussing how to do away with the colossal rodent and eventually devise a plan. When it is trained to leap into a bag fails, Stefani catches hold of a glove and a towel and, with the assistance of her mother, eventually gets it inside the bag. Her mother rushes out of the house and the rat is thrown on the front lawn by her. I want to ask you whether you would have had enough bravery to lay hold of a potentially diseased rat straight from a sewer as they did, or whether you would have called animal control. To tell the truth, maybe I would have got in touch with animal control services. Arissa Kelly is a British archer who has a unique shooting style and near-perfect aim. She has such exceptionally good abilities that her mother is ready to risk her life just to showcase Arissa's abilities. When Arissa attempts to focus her attention on this breathtaking trick shot, she also has not anything but entire trust in her daughter. Yep, in fact, she did fire an arrow with her feet.
This is how me and my mum resolve fights. Right. Close your eyes. You're not straight, man. You're right off to the side. I'm right off to the side of what?
At the present time, she is the only person in the UK who is capable of doing so. According to my way of thinking, although this is fantastic, Arissa seems to have received some criticism for this video. Do you believe involving her mother in taking part in this stunt was... They recorded this video at the Chapelfield Mall in Norwich, England. When a puzzling red balloon appears out of nowhere, the mall does not work. Don't forget that turned off the air conditioning and the escalator, and it is believed that there is no wind which is blowing in from the outside when you look at this balloon float around on its own. Should all of this be accurate, which way did the balloon move in the absence of air currents? Even stranger is the fact that the balloon remains low to the ground the whole time, nearly at the height of a child. Is this just a half-deflated balloon, or is a youthful spirit holding it? According to witnesses, the Our Lady of Guadalupe statue in New Mexico started moving on its own in 2018. They have caught the statue 4 times crying tears of sorrowful joy. These tears do not become dry and could see the next morning in this case, implying that the statue is constantly crying overnight. A close-up reveals that the tears are falling from a realistic angle. She's tilting her head slightly so that they come from the center of her eye rather than the corners. A scientific examination of the tears showed that their chemical composition is identical to that of a ceremonial olive oil. What are your thoughts on this situation based on the video and evidence? Is it real or fake? This massive statue was once seen moving in Vietnam. A massive crowd forms a long line up a mountainside to catch a glimpse. This person takes a step back and zooms in as far as their camera will permit. At 1 minute and 54 seconds, they all begin singing. And after 2 minutes and 20 seconds, the massive statue appears to have come to life. If you are able, please translate. At 2 minutes and 33 seconds, the statue appears to expand an arm out and safely hug the audience. The cameraman is now falling into tears when he and his family see the stone robes soften and become weightless, flapping like angelic wings. Did her stone robes truly transform into the fabric, or was something draped over her? If this were a sheet, I believe everyone would pay attention to and no one would be as impressed. At 3 minutes and 58 seconds, you can watch a hand only just peeking out from under the robe as though waving modestly. The mysterious waving hand has vanished after 4 minutes and 35 seconds. The statue has come back to normal and no longer moves. A crowd comes together in front of a statue to sing. After a while, her mouth starts to move when she mouths the song's lyrics with them. More than 100 people have confirmed that they can see the statue blink and sing joyfully. I wish I could have witnessed this with a high-resolution camera. Until that point, I assumed it was probably just video grain that creates the illusion of movement. In June of 2016, this video was shot during a service at a chapel in the Mexican city of Saltillo. They focus on a statue on the wall that simply opens its eyes and stares at them. My first thought was that the camera's focusing is what makes it appear to be opening its eyes. Otherwise, this could be a light-related illusion. However, this still image was taken at 1 minute and 4 seconds shows that the eyes are completely closed. It appears that this image at 1 minute and 10 seconds is taken at approximately the same distance and clearly shows that the eyes are now open. So the only other thing that comes to mind is computer effects. If this video is believable, a statue jabs another statue with a trident in the middle of the night, which I find difficult to do. Aside from appearing to be special effects due to the awkward way the statue moves, the camera mysteriously cuts out as soon as the trident gets in touch is far too coincidental. This would be extremely gruesome to witness in person, however, it's the only way I'd be confident that this video is genuine. Did this statue move? Ask someone in the comments section of this marble statue video. Even though others agree, I'm not convinced. If you look closely at 45 seconds, you can see that the Snow White statue sways slightly, but that is due to camera movement. Perhaps this is what they're referring to. What do you notice? If this video is believable, claims of the Chinese Guanyin statue blinking inside the Lincoln Temple seem to be true. Although this blinking effect is sometimes caused by shaking the camera, at 42 seconds the phone is still stationary and the statue is still doing it. I also listened to temple bells, implying that this occurred during a ceremony. Nevertheless, I'm fairly certain that the blinking is from a grainy video. The background appears to be moving in a similar manner. This video resolution, which is comparatively perfect quality or at least better than most, captures a statue moving its eyes. From 8 seconds to 12 seconds the statue has weighty eyelids that are almost closed. The person filming pauses for a second to impale the lighting, and the statue appears to open its eyes. While it would be strange to see this in person, I believe the moving statue is a simple camera trick involving angles and lighting. Firstly, they capture the statue at an upward angle with knee-high lighting to make the eyes look more closed. However, then they record at a downward angle with more lighting to raise the level of detail and make the eyes look more open. Even though it's a pleasant trick, I suspect it's real. Or at least that's what I believe. Do you suppose it's real? For 7 seconds, a statue seated on a throne appears to follow a museum visitor with its head when they pass by. Because the camera is shaking, take a look at these still images. When he first walks in, it has its head slightly turned to look at him. And here we are, 47 seconds later, looking at him from the center of the room. A different statue, shown here, is seen prying its arm about 20 seconds later. The Redeemer statue in Brazil cropped up a heart with beating chambers on July 28, 2019, and started to quickly get smaller and become larger. At least, that's what some people wish you to believe. In fact, this is a publicity stunt to raise awareness about heart disease. I just would like to clear the air and let you know that this is a hoax. Let me know if you were duped at first or if you were right all along. It is believed that this statue moves her eyes on a regular basis. Thousands of people flock to watch it, and some claim that it occurs in this video. Someone believed it was blinking here. I can definitely see it. Someone else claims to have seen her left arm move. I don't see it, and those who do are, in my opinion, being duped by shaky camera work. Thousands of people have paid a visit to this statue because it appears to move, so maybe I'm the one who is incorrect. A paranormal investigator visits the Oakwood Cemetery in Huntsville, Texas, to see if he can move a haunted statue. He says to it to raise its palms, however, they appear as still as can be. What about you? It appears that the investigator has one more simple experiment to see if this statue is capable of movement.
I heard something over there.
Is this just the noises of the forest, or is there something else taking place at Oakwood Cemetery? In 2016, a statue of Sai Baba became the subject of widespread speculation across India after it was allegedly caught shrugging its shoulders, causing a clothing item to fall off. The obvious explanation is that this piece of clothing simply came undone and fell off over time. However, at 24 seconds, the statue seems to roll its shoulder in an attempt to fall off. What's strange is that at 45 seconds, when everything appears to have unfolded and settled, the clothing item jumps off where the statue's hand is. Was it move again? In my opinion, wind currents from air conditioning or a draft could have blown this loose. If not, it could have simply been a matter of gravity and time. A family believes they saw a statue move while paying a visit to the St. Joseph Oratory in Montreal. You must pay close attention to the figure on the right at the start of the video or you will miss what they are talking about, specifically its hands. They claim that the statue is joyfully clapping. The other statue is motionless, and they quickly cut to a third statue that is also motionless. There is only one. Even though I'm certain that some people have confidence in him, I am convinced by this effect is almost entirely due to their phone. It's called pixelation, and it refers to fuzzy or blurry sections of low-quality video. I'm not charging them with making it up because they could have been watching vacation videos later and mistaken the pixelation for movement. On Good Friday, a statue moved its head during a song, which became a viral video. It's gruesome how everyone is staring at the statue when it immediately lets its head drop down. What I find difficult to believe about this video is that no one in the audience finishes singing or says anything out loud when it takes place. They just keep going as though nothing is wrong. If this is true, it's possible that they were so caught up in the moment and motivated by the statue's movement that they went on singing. This 10-minute video indicates a toy ambulance randomly going off, despite the fact that it usually requests someone to hold down the red buttons on top in order to make any noise. What's strange is that it appears to respond to a child's voice. Although perhaps it's just me, it appears as if the ambulance was bidding the child to number to a certain number. It seems to go off a few more times, mostly when the child speaks or is about to speak. Surprisingly, both of these clips appear to involve the number 12. This enigmatic video was captured during a tour of the Stanley Hotel in Estes Park, Colorado. When something darts by low to the ground, the tour guide is speaking about ghost-like guesses from other eras.
The frilly dresses, the little breeches shorts, the nice little blouses.
It is believed that this is one of the many alternative forms of toy rabbits that were popular in the 1800s and 1900s. And I think that it could be a speck of dust or even computer-generated effects. There is not anyone that says anything out loud, which is doubtful, but one of the girls looks down where the object was last moving and tracks it with her head perfectly. Perhaps everyone there just notices something out of the corner of their eye and didn't realize it until they watched the video later. Michael Pomeroy has in possession a shop called Something Different in Plymouth, England, and in this shop, there is a tall Mickey Mouse doll that is quite unique. When Michael opened the door one day, he discovered Mickey Mouse face down, more than a foot away from its usual spot in the corner. When Michael looks at the camera, he is astonished to see the haunted Mickey Mouse toy move on its own. Even though I initially thought it was thrown by someone off camera, you can clearly see it taking a few running steps forward before collapsing here. Please tell me if you were able to see it. Apart from computer effects, I don't know how this could have been faked, but the way the doll changes position looks very real to me. A reason why this gruesome child's bike was dropped down the roof. Even though this lullaby is only supposed to play for a minute, it's been playing for a half hour and counting.
5:30 in India here, and this is so freaking haunted. Nope. Hey. No. Stop it!
The voice quickly shifts to a more sinister tone, and I believe that I can hear other voices coming out of it as well.
I'm running away. What the hell is that? Oh my god.
This video, which is only 7 seconds long, puts us with more questions than answers. Two young women are recording a YouTube video with a great doll toy. Unless someone could not translate this section, it would not give us a better understanding of what the video was supposed to be about.
Bueno, aquí les presentamos a la muñeca de Betsy que se la regalaron a sus 15 años.
No manches, mira.
By contrast, the toy begins to change position on its own, staring at one of the girls. Off camera, a girl says to her to look at the toy, and when she does, she tosses it down in terror. Both of their reactions appear to be genuine, and if this isn't normal, I don't know what brought about it. This toy appears to be owned by a spirit that wishes to mimic whatever its living counterpart does. Because the toddler is sitting on a toy truck here, the spirit makes up its mind to do the same.
All around that toy. There it goes again, there it goes again. Yep, there it goes again, there it goes again.
Orbs seem to skip all around the yellow toy truck's wheels when it slowly creeps forward, almost imperceptibly at times. At one point, a larger orb appears to find the outline of the truck itself in a zigzagging pattern, and it appears that the child notices something as well. Even though I'm fairly certain that this is a genuine magical encounter, I'm also overt to other reasonable explanations, so please let me know what you think is going on. Even though Esmeralda Vega is filming her family that is opening gifts on Christmas, one toy in particular goes on interfering with what should be a blissful family moment.
That shit moved again, I'm throwing it across the...
Perhaps someone is commanding this toy from another room, or perhaps its motion started off, but according to their surprised reactions, I don't believe that anyone is intentionally moving this toy. If there is something, the toy appears to change position its own when the camera person mentions it, almost as if it has its own mind. If anyone knows this toy, please tell me what it's called and whether or not it's remote controlled. Perhaps we can all work together to determine whether or not this video is genuine. This video was taken at a rumored haunted house in Chiefland, Florida. Diane Frazier and her supernatural examination team invite the ghost of a child named David to play with a toy top in an attempt to summon him. I am sure that the tiny piece of plastic starts moving on its own.
Make sure that's zoomed in correctly.
It is. Yeah.
I want you to see this. You missed
Look
it.
at that. Good job.
Can you get that, Gabby?
I am getting, yes.
Yes, there he goes.
Whoa. All right.
Diane lastly develops stomach pains, and they discover that David was kicked by a horse centuries ago. Because I've never seen anything like this ghost equipment or software before, I'm not sure what the radar screen is used for. Should this be just an ordinary tablet with an app, there should be no way for the top to spin on its own. It seems that Michael is creating a seemingly innocuous YouTube video when something from another world appears directly at the back of him.
With fishing and we also
Instantly, Michael stands up to examine the toy set, and it is clear that no string was attached. A string would easily stand out against the gloomy wood of this table, and there is also a Coca-Cola can straight in the path of where a string would have to be. Actually, if you watch the video again, you'll notice that Michael moves directly in front of the toy, which would have completely obstructed a string. Even though it appears that the blocks themselves are relatively securely positioned at the bottom of a wire bend, they could have dropped on their own. While a husband and wife are sitting in their living room, one of them realizes that the cat toy is moving on its own. When it occurs again a short time later, they grab the phone and begin filming what could be an animal spirit in action.
Oh my goodness.
It took me a long time to look up remote-controlled cat toys, but none of them resembled this one. This toy is undoubtedly small and soft, whereas remote-controlled pet toys are much larger and, in order to defend the receiver, are also made of plastic. Given that the married couple claims to have lost a cat years ago, I have no doubt that it is now going back to its best-loved toy, and to its best-loved holders. A mother films her child joyfully shaping Play-Doh into various shapes, absolutely does not know that the toy moves twice on its own. It seems that the first time is almost imperceptible, so keep an eye on it.
What are you doing?
Play-Doh.
On the other hand, the second time is much more conspicuous. And I mean that if you look again, and you'll notice that both of the kid's hands are totally off the toy when it immediately moves towards him. It looks like this video is one of the few circumstances where I have no evidence to refute it, and I can only come to the conclusion that what you've seen is almost certainly paranormal. This grainy video, which is shot in a dim room just outside the kitchen, shows a children's toy unexpectedly gliding forward on its own. Even though the video's quality isn't great, it was shot in 2010 and appears to be about average for camera phones at the time. I'm not sure the reason why the camera was placed in that location in the first place. Perhaps they were having experience of magical activity in this area of the house and would like to document it for evidence. In any case, there's still enough light coming in from the kitchen to see if there's a string on the ground. Because I don't see anything, I believe there is a high ability that this video is genuine. Because Barry is convinced that a spirit is moving things around in his house, he places a random object in the middle of the floor. Because of being controlled of this cat toy, he places the controller next to the toy to demonstrate that he is not tampering with it in any way. Until nearly 4 minutes into the video, there is not anything happening.
Okay.
After that, nothing else happens for another 4 minutes until there is a second burst of movement. Barry believes he has enough evidence and stops recording when it moves on its own for the third time. I have only one explanation, is that 2 of these cat toys belong to Barry, and he was holding a second remote controller. Nevertheless, just by noticing the controller, you can tell that the large plastic buttons would most likely make a loud clicking noise when pressed, but I never see the button being pressed at all. While I believe this is likely real, perhaps Barry could record it again while being seen himself in a mirror so we can realize that he has nothing in his hands. It appears that many people watch NASA's space streams on a regular basis and they always hope that they can catch a glimpse of extraterrestrial life. In January of 2016, one such observer discovered an odd moment on the NASA stream and made up his mind to call him out on it. There is no doubt that a small, fast-moving speck zoomed twice across the background. Let me know if you believe the astronaut was attempting to use his hand to conceal something, or if you believe it was purely coincidental. And I'd love to listen to from anyone else who has seen anything similar on a NASA feed. One day, a large group of people in Cornwall, Australia, witnessed the same UFO and livestreamed it on social media. The greyish UFO appeared to dematerialize and appear one more time right in front of their eyes. Strangers seemed to post all three of those videos within 10 minutes of each other. The weird UFO reappeared the following day for a second appearance. And they shot these videos on July 17th and 18th, 2017. The gleaming UFO has not been announced since. Despite the fact that a massive storm in Oklahoma does not have anything out of the ordinary, 2 UFOs seen during a live television broadcast in April of 2017 are.
As it moves off to the northeast, we've had reports of hail up to the size of 3/4 of an inch.
It seems that there are 2 plump dots in the distance moving in patterns that refuse to obey natural physics laws. When you look carefully, you can discover a trail of light beneath the UFOs as they move towards the sky. It is believed that this is either an extraterrestrial aircraft or advanced rocket propulsion technology that the general public is unaware of. Julie G797, a YouTuber, was watching live BBC News coverage of a workers' strike in Hong Kong when he discovers what appears to be undeniable proof of a UFO.
There you go. Look at that. Descending on the top of that building.
The enigmatic green light hovers around the top of a building for only a few moments before shooting straight up into the sky. They recorded this footage directly from the television screen and appears to be extremely difficult, if not impossible, to forge. People are currently discussing whether the light is large enough to become a quadcopter drone. Despite the fact that I suppose it could be a drone, if not, I believe this is a genuine alien UFO sighting. A strange flying object is seen in the dark city sky during a live news broadcast in Montreal. Take note of the area to the left of the newscaster.
Je vous conseille d'en profiter puisque pour la fin de semaine, ça pourrait se gâter. Alors évidemment qu'il y a ce système dépressionnaire qui est en provenance du Midwest américain.
Some claim that this is obviously a meteorite, while others claim that it is far too massive and slow-moving to be one. No matter what it is, it seems that the object grows larger when it gets closer to Earth. Perhaps it burned up in the Earth's atmosphere and is now dropping to Earth. In any case, little do we know if this was a meteorite or a spacecraft. This mysterious UFO was seen gliding around the International Space Station at 7:23 a.m. on April 5, 2016, during a NASA livestream.
I'll have to close out and open it back up again.
Copy.
In the distance, a flat disk rises a little by little on the blue horizon. It grows in size and then seems to briefly turn upside down itself while remaining on the surface. I don't know what this thing is, so please make your best guess. NASA, as far as I know, has yet to provide an official explanation. It seemed that they captured this live recording somewhere in Turkey. The news report begins normally enough until a bystander discovers an object in the distance and points it out to the rest of the audience. A crowd quickly forms to stare openly at what seems to be a large number of UFOs in the sky. The fact that this video draws to a close before anything else takes place leads me to believe that it is a hoax, or that an electronic disturbance has jammed the cameras. Please tell me if anyone in Turkey is aware of anything more about this video. Parker Donald Music in 2012, a band called the Black Keys performed live in Chicago at the Lollapalooza Music Festival. Examine these short clips to see if you can discover anything in the sky when the audience is panned across by the cameras.
Come on. Come on, Chicago.
At least 2 unidentified flying objects seem to rush around in the spotlight with sharp and sporadic flight patterns. Despite the fact that I'm no expert, I don't believe comets move in that manner, so I'm uncertain what it is. They discovered this UFO flying over the water west of San Diego in 2004. Suddenly, 2 high-tech fighter jets took off right away. One of them would later give a description of what they saw as a 40-foot-long tic-tac with no wings. The Department of Defense did not declassify what you just saw until 2017, 13 years later. Because this tape has been confirmed by all major news networks, I can confidently state that it is genuine.
Look at that thing. It's rotating.
It seemed that the Pentagon conducted a secret UFO research program worth $22 million called the Advanced Aviation Threat Identification Program, which was terminated in 2012. When compared to this video, it gets you to want to know how many other UFO videos are in the vault waiting to be declassified. It's not until a UFO appears in the middle of the day that it becomes an unusual news day in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Everyone, hope you're having a nice start to the day, and you take a shot of this, yeah. You know what, no complaint. What was that? Who's that right there? Look at that. Who's that right there? Down at there?
The astonished news anchor can follow the fast-moving UFO with his finger until it is completely out of sight, and his perplexed reaction is shared by nearly everyone who has seen the video since. Some have attempted to give an explanation of this sighting as the planet Venus, which is only visible at certain times of the year, but given that the UFO clearly travels in front of a building at one point, I don't believe this is a viable explanation. One day, Fox News inadvertently captured a UFO that is flying around Washington, D.C. just before cutting away to a commercial break.
Frightening. All right, well, college interns on Capitol Hill may be getting a greater...
The lightning-fast UFO seems to exit the camera frame as quickly as it entered, vanishing from view before the news anchor can even say 3 words. It's fascinating to me how many UFO sightings happen near monuments and other landmarks. Please tell me if you also agree and why you believe this occurs so frequently. It seems that the Kaiser Report is an English-language news program and it has its headquarters in Moscow, Russia. During the 457th episode, there is a shot of a UFO zooming by overhead.
Just so you understand the implications of what this could mean for the world and the global agricultural food supply.
Some say that this is a bird, while others say that it is far too quick. Despite the fact that I'm uncertain if this is a bird or something else, the shape of the saucer is clearly visible when the video is slowed down. A person named Jittery Kitty captured this live Weather Channel footage and he uploaded it onto their Twitter account.
Into a web, mobile, and social media platform. The original purpose of it was for education, and the vision we had.
There is a weather station following Hurricane Irma when immediately a massive ball of light drops directly from the sky, hits the ground and after that, bounces back upwards until it is out of view. For the time being, the meteorologist either makes as if not to realize or genuinely wasn't looking at the live feed when it took place. This strange moment may have been lost forever unless there is a quick thinking of Twitter user. It seemed that this complicated UFO sighting occurred during a Fox News broadcast on the same day as President Barack Obama's inauguration.
Keep it here as our special coverage of Inauguration Weekend continues.
To the right of the Washington Monument, 2 glowing lights pop up, a pale orb-like UFO is followed. The UFO appears almost translucent and metallic when it briefly appears and then fades away. It is believed that this is due to a camera malfunction involving the 2 red lights on the monument itself. If someone could give an explanation of this possible malfunction to me, I would appreciate hearing more about it. KOCO5 News. During a cutaway shot shortly before the commercial, a low-flying UFO is captured by chance by an Oklahoma news station. This footage was later shown to the Science Museum of Oklahoma for verification by KOCO5 News. Experts in the area concluded that it was not a meteorite and declared it to be an actual UFO. The president of another organization, the Oklahoma Astronomy Society, later stated that they believed it was a meteorite, and the debate goes on to this day, as with any good UFO sighting. Channel 4 News in the United Kingdom provided this official YouTube video. When something flies over the live green screen at the back of a news anchor named Tom Watson, he is reading from a teleprompter.
That Parliament was misled by the company, and what our committee is trying to do.
When you slow the video down, you can clearly watch a white saucer descending across the city skyline. Despite the fact that some have speculated that this is a drone, they recorded the footage in 2011 long before drones were widely available. Therefore, even though I suppose this was either a government-owned drone or an alien spacecraft, we'll have no idea for sure. Timeline soon, a YouTuber was watching a German television show when this appeared on his screen immediately.
Professor Schlepfer, an diesem Tag sollte man sich vielleicht...
The UFO hovers for a moment before noiselessly gliding away.
Ja, nimm mal gut.
Please tell me if anyone knows to speak German so that I can understand what is being said here. Let me know if the location's name is given by them and if this story has anything to do with unusual alien activity. Since 2013, something that was very unusual hovering over Lincoln, Nebraska's capital was discovered by a camera on a weather tower. Look for it in the bottom right corner.
Just before 6 a.m. on September 4th, KLKN's HD Tower Cam 8...
The local meteorologist at the station couldn't explain the UFO. He continued to say that he does not believe it was a weather-related incident and thus is not officially recognized as a practitioner of a detailed profession to speculate on what it could have been. The same morning, a Lincoln resident captured this flashing object on video and sent it to the news network. By the time the sun rose, the UFO had vanished that does not leave any trace.
A Channel 8 viewer captured similar footage.
It's an unidentified object.
It appeared that this BBC broadcast discovered something so unusual that they later required viewers to call in if it was seen by them well. When something very strange zooms by the webcam in the background, a news anchor is by chance reporting on a normal news story.
Breakfast headlines. And did you spot something suspicious in the screen behind me? Have a look. Is it a bird? Is it a plane? Just what is it?
Unless it was a bug, I would personally be surprised. Someone else suggested that it could be light reflected off an overhead aircraft on a cloudy day. Please tell me if you believe that these two possible explanations are plausible. According to witnesses, the Our Lady of Guadalupe statue in New Mexico started moving on its own in 2018. They have caught the statue 4 times crying tears of sorrowful joy. These tears do not become dry and could see the next morning in this case, implying that the statue is constantly crying overnight. A close-up reveals that the tears are falling from a realistic angle. She's tilting her head slightly so that they come from the center of her eye rather than the corners. A scientific examination of the tears showed that their chemical composition is identical to that of a ceremonial olive oil. What are your thoughts on this situation based on the video and evidence? Is it real or fake? This massive statue was once seen moving in Vietnam. A massive crowd forms a long line up a mountainside to catch a glimpse. This person takes a step back and zooms in as far as their camera will permit. At 1 minute and 54 seconds, they all begin singing. And after 2 minutes and 20 seconds, the massive statue appears to have come to life. If you are able, please translate. At 2 minutes and 33 seconds, the statue appears to expand an arm out and safely hug the audience. The cameraman is now falling into tears when he and his family see the stone robes soften and become weightless, flapping like angelic wings. Did her stone robes truly transform into the fabric, or was something draped over her? If this were a sheet, I believe everyone would pay attention to and no one would be as impressed. At 3 minutes and 58 seconds, you can watch a hand only just peeking out from under the robe as though waving modestly. The mysterious waving hand has vanished after 4 minutes and 35 seconds. The statue has come back to normal and no longer moves. A crowd comes together in front of a statue to sing. After a while, her mouth starts to move when she mouths the song's lyrics with them. More than 100 people have confirmed that they can see the statue blink and sing joyfully. I wish I could have witnessed this with a high-resolution camera. Until that point, I assumed it was probably just video grain that creates the illusion of movement. In June of 2016, this video was shot during a service at a chapel in the Mexican city of Saltillo. They focus on a statue on the wall that simply opens its eyes and stares at them. My first thought was that the camera's focusing is what makes it appear to be opening its eyes. Otherwise, this could be a light-related illusion. However, this still image was taken at 1 minute and 4 seconds shows that the eyes are completely closed. It appears that this image at 1 minute and 10 seconds is taken at approximately the same distance and clearly shows that the eyes are now open. So the only other thing that comes to mind is computer effects. If this video is believable, a statue jabs another statue with a trident in the middle of the night, which I find difficult to do. Aside from appearing to be special effects due to the awkward way the statue moves, the camera mysteriously cuts out as soon as the trident get in touch is far too coincidental. This would be extremely gruesome to witness in person, however, it's the only way I'd be confident that this video is genuine. Did this statue move? Ask someone in the comments section of this marble statue video. Even though others agree, I'm not convinced. If you look closely at 45 seconds, you can see that the Snow White statue sways slightly, but that is due to camera movement. Perhaps this is what they're referring to. What do you notice? If this video is believable, claims of the Chinese Guanyin statue blinking inside the Lincoln Temple seem to be true. Although this blinking effect is sometimes caused by shaking the camera, at 42 seconds the phone is still stationary and the statue is still doing it. I also listened to temple bells, implying that this occurred during a ceremony. Nevertheless, I'm fairly certain that the blinking is from a grainy video. The background appears to be moving in a similar manner. This video resolution, which is comparatively perfect quality or at least better than most, captures a statue moving its eyes. From 8 seconds to 12 seconds the statue has weighty eyelids that are almost closed. The person filming pauses for a second to impale the lighting, and the statue appears to open its eyes. While it would be strange to see this in person, I believe the moving statue is a simple camera trick involving angles and lighting. Firstly, they capture the statue at an upward angle with knee-high lighting to make the eyes look more closed. However, then they record at a downward angle with more lighting to raise the level of detail and make the eyes look more open. Even though it's a pleasant trick, I suspect it's real. Or at least that's what I believe. Do you suppose it's real? For 7 seconds, a statue seated on a throne appears to follow a museum visitor with its head when they pass by. Because the camera is shaking, take a look at these still images. When he first walks in, it has its head slightly turned to look at him. And here we are, 47 seconds later, looking at him from the center of the room. A different statue, shown here, is seen prying its arm about 20 seconds later. The Redeemer statue in Brazil cropped up a heart with beating chambers on July 28, 2019, and started to quickly get smaller and become larger. At least, that's what some people wish you to believe. In fact, this is a publicity stunt to raise awareness about heart disease. I just would like to clear the air and let you know that this is a hoax. Let me know if you were duped at first or if you were right all along. It is believed that this statue moves her eyes on a regular basis. Thousands of people flock to watch it, and some claim that it occurs in this video. Someone believed it was blinking here. I can definitely see it. Someone else claims to have seen her left arm move. I don't see it, and those who do are, in my opinion, being duped by shaky camera work. Thousands of people have paid a visit to this statue because it appears to move, so maybe I'm the one who is incorrect. A paranormal investigator visits the Oakwood Cemetery in Huntsville, Texas, to see if he can move a haunted statue. He says to it to raise its palms, however, they appear as still as can be. What about you? It appears that the investigator has one more simple experiment to see if this statue is capable of movement.
I heard something over there.
Is this just the noises of the forest, or is there something else taking place at Oakwood Cemetery? In 2016, a statue of Sai Baba became the subject of widespread speculation across India after it was allegedly caught shrugging its shoulders, causing a clothing item to fall off. The obvious explanation is that this piece of clothing simply came undone and fell off over time. However, at 24 seconds, the statue seems to roll its shoulder in an attempt to fall off. What's strange is that at 45 seconds, when everything appears to have unfolded and settled, the clothing item jumps off where the statue's hand is. Was it move again? In my opinion, wind currents from air conditioning or a draft could have blown this loose. If not, it could have simply been a matter of gravity and time. A family believes they saw a statue move while paying a visit to the St. Joseph Oratory in Montreal. You must pay close attention to the figure on the right at the start of the video or you will miss what they are talking about, specifically its hands. They claim that the statue is joyfully clapping. The other statue is motionless, and they quickly cut to a third statue that is also motionless. There is only one. Even though I'm certain that some people have confidence in him, I am convinced by this effect is almost entirely due to their phone. It's called pixelation, and it refers to fuzzy or blurry sections of low-quality video. I'm not charging them with making it up because they could have been watching vacation videos later and mistaken the pixelation for movement. On Good Friday, a statue moved its head during a song, which became a viral video. It's gruesome how everyone is staring at the statue when it immediately lets its head drop down. What I find difficult to believe about this video is that no one in the audience finishes singing or says anything out loud when it takes place. They just keep going as though nothing is wrong. If this is true, it's possible that they were so caught up in the moment and motivated by the statue's movement that they went on singing. Thanks for checking out this video. Be sure to subscribe because I upload a new video every day. Or if you're still not convinced, here are some of my other videos that I think you'd like. Enjoy.